You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Well, today we're going to talk about wellness in relation to where you live. People choose a place to live for a variety of reasons, including among those are school, commute to work, family and friends, and then also an important consideration is your accessibility to community wellness, access to a trusted network of medical professionals. Today we have as our guest Dr. Ken Freedman. He's the founder and director of Freedman Chiropractic in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Dr. Freedman has provided adult and pediatric chiropractic services since 1979 that are focused on improving the body's ability to self-heal and optimize quality of life. Dr. Freedman, big welcome to our show.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Jane.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. We're very happy to have you. So quality of life is such an important thing. We were just talking about it off the air. You know, as people get older, you always have quality of life issues. So it's important to maintain a very healthy quality of life because that comes down to where you live is important, but your quality of life and how you live your life is equally important.
One of the most important things, especially when it comes to your ability to move. Your ability to move is directly related to your quality of life.
Absolutely.
And I've always thought that youth is movement.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of how old you are, but a matter of how young you feel. And the better you move, the more independent you are, and the more capable you are of enjoying the kind of lifestyle that you really want to live.
Yeah, that's what I always think to myself. As I get older, I try to move more, not less, because you want to reverse the effects of aging. So the more you move, the more younger you feel, and it's how you, like you said, it's a mindset. Age is a mindset. It's how you live your life, how you exercise, what you put into your body, and just a total mindset.
Movement is important, but Ken, you'd be surprised. It's not just movement alone. It's like saying driving your car is important to keep it running right. If your car is out of tune or if the wheels are out of balance, the more you drive it, the worse it is for the car. And for a lot of people, they go into exercise programs or they start moving, taking yoga, things like that, thinking it's going to benefit them. And a lot of times they wind up being injured or they do just the opposite from what they're trying to do because if their body's out of alignment or their body's not working as well as it could cause other problems. And that's why a lot of people seek me out.
That's a great point. Yeah, if you're moving but the wrong way or you're putting pressure on something that you're doing it improperly, that's doing more damage than good. So your bio also indicates that you served as the president of the East Brunswick Advisory Health Council for 30 years. Please talk about that role.
The Advisory Health Council consists of volunteers who are nominated by the mayor, ratified by the town council, and they serve as an advisory capacity to the mayor and town council on health and health-related issues. In East Brunswick, our mayor right now is a medical doctor, but the years before that, I've served under 5 different mayors.
Wow.
Those other mayors weren't medical doctors, and there were no other doctors that served on the town council. Mm-hmm. So when they are charged with making a decision that impacts public health and welfare, if they don't have all the information that they need, or they're looking for the ability to make a more informed decision, they call upon the Advisory Health Council to help guide them and advise them on what we feel is in the best interest of the public.
It's quite interesting, quite important role,
100%, yeah.
Yeah. You also were the creator and host of Wellness Spotlight, an award-winning health and wellness program that aired on EBTV. Tell us about this program.
Well, this program, I always felt that there was plenty of information out there on illness.
Right.
You go to the library, you can always pick books out on a variety of different diseases and maladies and topics that have to do with how you treat certain conditions, from cancer to diabetes to heart disease, a lot of the things that plague people that live in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area. But there really wasn't a lot of information to help empower people on how to take better care of themselves and stay healthier. How to stay out of the medical system if they want to. So the Wellness Spotlight was a vision that I had to be able to give people access to this type of information. And it featured a variety of different experts in different fields. who could come on and speak for about a half an hour to an hour on different health-related topics, from chiropractic to nutrition to Reiki to the role of wellness within the military, you name it, just about everything.
Wow.
Well, that's very important. I love our EBTV.
Yeah.
So they have so many great programs there.
And you were in the forefront because 30 some years ago, that preventive medicine was just on the onset of getting recognition, right? It was everybody would run to the doctor, but being proactive rather than reactive is a very beneficial thing to one's health.
And it goes along with the trend that has taken place over the last 46 years that I've been in practice. Years ago, people were more reactive. In other words, the whole concept of health was really based upon whether or not you had or didn't have any symptoms.
Yeah.
It was based upon the presence or absence of symptoms. So if you had symptoms, you weren't healthy. And then you went to any number of different practitioners, from chiropractors to oncologists and everybody in between, to get rid of the symptoms. And if you got rid of the symptoms, then you thought you were healthy. But that's not really what health is. Health is really optimum physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of diseases or infirmities. And that's not my definition. That's the definition that comes from the medical textbooks, the Dorland's Medical Dictionary. So now over the years, we've moved more from a mechanistic standpoint that treats conditions based upon the affected part. My neck hurts, my back hurts, I've got headaches, this or that, and the treatment is for that area or condition, to more of a vitalistic perspective, which takes into consideration that the body is an interconnected, interrelated series of different parts that are controlled and coordinated through energy that comes from the brain, emanates out, and animates and controls all body functions, as well as healing and your recovery from illness and disease, and your ability to have a healthier, more productive life and retard the degenerative cascade.
I totally agree, doctor. I have a friend, right? And for about 2 years, her shoulder is hurt, and then getting worse and worse, and her hands is hurt. She couldn't pick up something. Obviously, they want to see a lot of doctors, spine doctor, everything under whatever they can think of. They couldn't find anything wrong with her. So one day, and someone else suggested to see a doctor. That doctor said maybe something in brain or something. It's to everyone's surprise, she had a brain tissue or
Brain tumor, I believe.
tumor.
Yeah.
And then pushed the a nerve or something. Thank God it wasn't really bad cancer. It was a tumor. So that caused it. Like you said, right? The symptom is the arm or hands couldn't move, couldn't raise it, but they tried to, solve that issue and couldn't. At the end, it was the brain issue. Yeah.
Well, that's it. When the motor doesn't run, the back wheels don't turn.
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
a great.
That's a good.
I like that. Yeah, that's.
And it's all connected.
Yes.
You'd be surprised how many patients come to me because they have neck pain or back pain. They've been failed by other types of therapies that they've tried.
Yeah.
And because of the approach that I take and how I look at everything, back pain could come from the feet being out of alignment or the neck being out of alignment because the energy to get to the lower back has to go through the neck.
Yeah.
So if these other areas are out of alignment, it adversely affects the function of the entire kinetic chain, how all of the joints and muscles work together. But what's very important, and what a lot of people are realizing now that they didn't years ago, is that only 20% of the energy traveling over the nervous system goes to muscles and joints. Only 20%. The other 80% is controlling your organ and glandular functions, your respiration, how you digest your food, how you eliminate waste, your immune competence, all of these other functions that go on without you even having to think about it, as long as there's no interference to the process. And these nerves come from the brain, go through the spine, and then out. So if the spine goes out of alignment and these nerves get irritated, their medical doctors are not trained to evaluate the condition that involves irritation of these nerves from misalignment of the spine called vertebral subluxation complex, or subluxations for short. When the spine goes out of alignment, it irritates the nerves,
Right.
and the energy doesn't flow well. So it's not
So it
really a
disrupts-
muscle and joint problem.
It disrupts the whole body then.
It's a short circuit. It's an energy disruption.
Wow.
Wow.
So you'd be amazed how many people come into me with musculoskeletal problems, because if your muscles and joints are being adversely affected, then you could pretty much assume that there are certain organ and glandular functions that aren't working up to par either. You may not be aware of it, but they're still not working as well as they possibly could. And when these people get under chiropractic care for the issues that they came in initially complaining of, days or weeks later, they start to report to me about how these other things are functioning better. They're going to the bathroom more regularly, and they're not constipated, or they had headaches and they went away, or they had menstrual problems. I had a couple who couldn't conceive a child. They were in a motor vehicle accident, came to me with neck and back pain from the
Wow.
motor vehicle injury, and I said, don't be surprised if all of a sudden, now you're able to have
That's
a baby.
amazing.
And they did.
Wow, it's amazing.
I said, just don't name the baby Ken, because I don't want to pay for it.
Oh, you don't want to pay
College
the child
education.
support in college. That's,
But yeah, it's really remarkable. And it's not because, I don't want your listeners to say, oh, well, here's a chiropractor saying chiropractic care cures everything. Because that's not the case at all. In fact, no doctor, regardless of their area of, I was going to say no doctor can cure anything. But really, there's only two things that a doctor can cure: themselves and a ham.
yeah. Oh,
But other than that, it's the body that does all the
Yes.
healing.
that's true, right.
So what I do is I identify and remove the interferences to their body's ability to function as well as it can. And one of the key factors in better body function is an improved ability to heal.
Yeah, and that's having the energy go where it's supposed to. So if you have if along the highway there's a diversion, like the muscle, the vertebrae or the nerve is pinching it, then it's going to drain the energy from the organs or wherever it's supposed to go. So your focus is on improving the circuit, so you're eliminating the short circuit in effect.
That's true, and when there's nerve interference, it either results in too much or not enough energy.
Yeah.
Because too much or not enough energy, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, irritable bowel syndrome or constipation. Too much or not enough is bad. Muscle spasm or muscle weakness and laxity. So the whole idea is to get everything functioning well and balanced. And only the body can do that. I just remove the irritation to the process and let the body do the healing like it's supposed to.
Wow.
Wow, that's
great.
deep. That's good stuff.
Yeah, really,
Yeah,
really
learn
good
a
stuff.
lot, yeah.
Now, you're also, besides all the other accolades you have, you also are a celebrity. You've been featured on many news shows, MSNBC, News 4 New York, WABC, Eyewitness News. You've been on the Philadelphia stations. I guess we're going to go to break soon, but in a nutshell, was your interviews based on a variety of topics, or did you focus on one specific area that the TV grabbed you for?
Actually, I was asked by, of blessed memory, Assemblyman Peter J. Barnes, who was one of the pioneers on backpack safety in New Jersey. It was one of his very important issues. And he had seen some work that I had done and thought that we should work together. And he invited me to do some presentations with him. And anyway, the word got out to some of these stations, and they had invited me on. So
Cool.
I'm a Backpack Safety America instructor. Believe it or not, there is such a thing. So I've made presentations to a lot of the local schools on how to choose the right backpack, how to pack it, lift it, and wear it correctly. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that if a child lifts a backpack that's 10 pounds and they lift it about 10 times a day, over the course of their lifetime going through the grades, they've lifted about the equivalent of 20 mid-sized automobiles. Over that period of time. And a lot of children already have problems as a result of the birth process or sports and other problems. So, as a result of having this extra stress, it's kind of the schoolyard bully they carry around
cool.
on their back.
Very cool.
And, we teach them how to take better care of themselves and reduce that kind of stress.
That's great. Okay, we're going to continue this. We're just going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're joined today by Dr. Ken Freedman. He's a chiropractor located in East Brunswick, New Jersey. And Dr. Freedman, please share your contact information for our listeners.
Well, my office is Freedman Chiropractic. It's spelled Freedman, Freedman Chiropractic. I'm located in East Brunswick, right off Cranberry Road, just to the left of the indoor athletic facility called The Fields. My phone number is 732-254-6011. And if you want to email me, it's ken@freedmanchiropractic.com.
Okay, thank you. Very good. So we were talking just before the break about your TV endeavors, and basically, so that was all focused on the backpack.
On backpack safety.
Backpack safety, right. Which is a big thing. Yeah, I used to think about it when I was a kid. I used to carry the backpack with one shoulder because that was considered the cool way to do it. Whereas I guess the proper way is put the backpack on both shoulders. But nobody going to school in my generation you were regarded as weird or like nerdy if you had the backpack on both shoulders.
Well, you're a lot younger than I am.
Well,
Ken,
not a lot, but
I didn't have a babackpack when I went to school. We had to carry the books under one arm.
I did that, I think, too. That was the cool way to do it, right? Have nothing. I don't know, Jane. I know you when you went to school in China, you had backpacks because you were very bad. My daughter and I tease her that there was one guy in the class in one of her grade school classes that was a troublemaker. So Jane, was never shy even as a kid. So one day she got really angry with this guy. I guess he really was disrupting the class, so she took his backpack and threw it out the window.
That was a fifth
That's a true story.
level. That was
my
a
daughter
fifth level.
Yeah, so you can imagine
yeah.
Jane. She's not much different now, right?
You know what? You probably did him a favor, Jane.
Yeah, because he got kicked him out of the school, right? That was the message. Don't bother with the books, right?
Yeah. The teacher couldn't do anything, right? And he was like, too much. I just pick up the bag off the window. And he had to go down and get it, so we have a piece in the classroom.
Yeah. Now, getting back to East Brunswick, besides everything else you've done, you've also are a charter member of the East Brunswick Chamber of Commerce and a board member of the library, and also the president of your association.
My office condo association.
Your office condo association. Let's talk about the Chamber of Commerce and what a charter member, what did that involve, getting it as a founder member?
Well, we had a Chamber of Commerce many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And then for a variety of reasons, it went by the wayside, and there was no Chamber of Commerce for a while.
Right.
And then there was an East Brunswick Business Alliance, the EBBA, which was sort of like a Chamber of Commerce. And then it became a Middlesex County Business Alliance. And then that went downhill after a while, and then there was nothing. And then through the vision of Mayor Cohen, he wanted to revitalize the Chamber of Commerce and got us together, and we agreed with him. And anyway, we formed a new Chamber of Commerce, and it's been going strong ever since with over 275 members and great events and great camaraderie.
Yeah, we meet once a month, and it's always good to see you. We can say, hi, Ken, right?
Well, that's how we
met,
you know? So
Yeah.
it really brings people together, and it's not only great for business, but it's great for, socializing and getting a support system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it grew exponentially, right? It started out, I think, maybe at 20 or 30
I
members.
think when we started, only about 20-something. We started in the Colonial Diner, the first meeting, remember?
Okay.
Yeah, you were later.
I was a later bloomer. You guys
That's
were
right.
early,
We were there at the
right.
beginning. Yeah.
That is so
That's so good.
Yeah, and it's done a lot of good things, a lot of good charity events, a lot of, community services, and it's a way for businesses to get together and help one another and do some marketing and liaison.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really good thing. So let's talk about your practice, how you spoke very well about how your practice can help people and how, you look at the whole body method. How has your method or has your practice evolved over the years? If you think back to like 39 years ago when you first started to the medical treatments you were doing then as to the medical approaches you're doing now, has it evolved any based on newer techniques or based on the medical educational advances, or is your practice kind of the same?
I'm very different, and my practice has evolved and changed with me also. Yeah. There's three types of people that would typically come to see me: those in pain, those who are interested in better performance, like high-level athletes. I've had Olympic athletes come to see me, as well as Oscar-nominated actors that you would know who are interested in performing better, as well as, high-powered lifestyle people in business who have very stressful lives, raising lots of kids and things like that. And then I have people who understand that the mind and body are connected, and the better things work, the better you can relate to yourself and the world around you. So they like that approach. Years ago, most people came to me because of pain problem or malady. Nowadays, people come to me because, as we had spoken before earlier, they've gone from, over the years, being reactive to being more proactive, from mechanism to more vitalism, because it makes more sense to take care of yourself and stay healthier instead of waiting for sickness to develop and then just drug or cut out the affected parts thinking that's going to make you better, but it really doesn't. It just makes you not sick for a while. It doesn't make you healthier. There's a lot more research now than there was years ago. MRI became available in the early 80s. So, that has been a tremendous tool because it gives us the ability to have more insight as to what may be going on, especially in people where you have to rule out pathology. We don't use X-ray as much as we used to years ago. We understand now X-ray's good if you have to check to make sure nobody has a broken bone or a dislocation or, God forbid, some type of tumor or pathology. But nowadays, we don't really X-ray as much as often until after a short period of time if the patient's not responding. Then we'll order X-rays or other imaging to more clearly delineate the nature and extent of what's going on and what they need to do in order to get the help that they need or where they need to go. Years ago, chiropractic was known for the adjusting technique where you're twisting and popping and cracking the spinal joints. And about 50% of the population really loves that kind of adjustment. But 50% of people don't like or want that kind of adjustment. Now there are techniques where a person can be safely and effectively adjusted with absolutely no twisting, popping, or cracking of the spinal joints. So that's good for people who either just don't like the idea of being twisted and popped.
Or don't like the sound, maybe?
Or, people where it's not really clinically appropriate. Let's say they're osteopenic or osteoporotic. They have brittle bones or weak bones.
Yeah.
Or there's a risk of stroke. But they still need to have that nerve irritation released, or otherwise they can't get better. So there's safe and effective ways to be able to do that is clinically appropriate and respects the patient's personal preferences. And the type of care that I provide in my office is highly personalized for each patient that comes in. It's not algorithmic. In a lot of healthcare today, you see it being based on algorithms. If you have this condition based upon the diagnostic code, then there are only certain things that are really permitted within the therapeutic paradigm. But what happens if somebody needs something else that the doctor feels is necessary? Well, if they incorporate that into the patient's care, they're at risk, for liability. I'm very lucky because chiropractic care, the care I provide, is very safe. It's the safest form of health care there is. My malpractice rates, I can say that because of the amount of insurance. The same level of insurance that I buy is a fraction of the cost of what medical doctors pay for the same levels of coverage, which is all based on risk. It's not just because I'm saying that because I'm a chiropractor.
Sure.
And, we have ways now to actually be able to measure whether or not a person has nerve irritation within the spine. We can actually, we're trained, specially trained using our hands to be able to feel muscle tone, muscle balance, inflammation, temperature along the spine, mobility. And in addition to our developed skills to be able to do this, we have technology to actually measure it objectively as well.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really, quite informative. I learned a lot of new things about the chiropractic field just from listening to Dr. Freedman. speak about
Definitely.
the modern approach and what you can do with, I thought you always had to crack and break, but that was the old school. Now there's so much more involved. And I really like your your holistic approach to looking at the patient from the holistic standpoint, and their condition, their age, what other things they have going on, not just like a one-stop treatment for their particular pain. So.
Yeah, that's really proactive. It's not only treat the symptom, it's treat the cause, to find the cause, of the issue. And then the prevention is definitely a big plus.
It's one of the reasons why I specialize in adjusting infants and children, because the birth process is very traumatic to the spine. And the first subluxations take place typically as a result of the birth process.
Wow.
My own children were adjusted in the delivery room before their mother held them.
Oh.
So it doesn't get any better than that, and they were adjusted regularly throughout their lives growing up. And a lot of people now are bringing their children in right after they're born proactively.
Interesting.
Wow.
So, years ago I had kids that came in because they had chronic recurring ear infections from a lowered immunity. And as a result of adjusting them, their immune competence improved because their body was functioning better. So the ear infections went away and they didn't need the tubes in the ears. Or they were constipated. Now they're going to the bathroom. Or they weren't tolerating certain foods as well, and so on. Or they weren't walking normally and developing the way that they should. Kids with scoliosis, carrying heavy backpacks in school, things like that.
At school, I think still. That's one of the. I was just going to bring that up about the scoliosis. Are you seeing that in a part of the population still? It's still prevalent in certain age groups?
It is, but the thing is, a lot of times the scoliosis can develop. One of the reasons why is because of undetected subluxations when that person was first born and growing up to the point where they now go to school. Because the key thing about chiropractic care, the one thing that I'd really appreciate your listeners understanding from what we're doing today, is that the main improvement in the body has to do with how well your body tolerates stress. And stress is physical, chemical, and emotional. The healthier you are, the better your body is capable of tolerating the physical, chemical, and emotional stresses that you're subjected to. So whether you're a child learning how to walk and bearing weight for the first time, or carrying a backpack and sitting in those horrible chairs in school, or whether you're an adult that has a mortgage payment that they have to meet and the stresses that go on with home ownership and raising a family, physical, chemical, and emotional stresses that barrage us on a daily basis.
Yeah, and people deal with stress on different ways. Some people might shed it externally by crying or emotionally. Others might keep it inside, and it might just tighten their muscles, and it might affect their whole body internally, where they get so tight or so. It's all different ways of dealing with stress. Other people may try to exercise to relieve it, but I'm sure you see all different facets of the way people battle stress.
I do. It affects different people different ways, but the one thing that most of them have in common is irritation of the nervous system, which is shackling their body's full capacity to be able to tolerate those stresses better. And by removing those handcuffs and enabling their body to work better, then they can tolerate those stresses a lot better than they would be able to with irritation of the nervous system and impaired energy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember the once in my lifetime, my father was really ill, dying of cancer, and I have a school, I have work and everything. My shoulder just locked in. When I drive, I can't even. It's dangerous. I couldn't even move. I have to whole body have to go with it, and at that time I have to see chiropractor, doctor, and try to relieve that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you dealt with the stress. You
Yes.
built it up internally. Your body
you
got
just couldn't
stiffened or
move.
tightened
Yeah.
or the headaches and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so interesting. Well, we didn't get to cover any of the things on the real estate. I was going to ask your opinion. We have about 2 minutes left. Just in your point of view, have you seen changes in the healthcare profession in terms of the real estate needs? Are you finding that there's a lot of solo practitioners in the healthcare? Or are there a lot of practices merging? This is just our commercial real estate dib at the end, very end, to just tie it in.
It's a good question, Ken. I think that years ago there were more solo practitioners, and over the years, it seems like more and more practitioners are consolidating their practices for economic reasons and also for convenience because they have better coverage and they're more competitive with other practices, being able to offer more hours and more coverage and bringing in additional specialties. But it's very important to live in a community that has a good healthcare services that are available. In real estate, you talk about location.
Right.
It's not just a matter of convenience, because research shows this to be a key determinant in health outcomes and quality of life.
Yeah.
The better your access to health care, the better your quality of life, the longer you live, the better your compliance, the more immediate you get treatment on an emergency basis, and there are fewer fatalities.
Yep. Well, we are very fortunate. We're almost out of time. We have about a minute left, but we're very fortunate to live in Central Jersey and have one of the best doctors right in our back door.
Backyard.
Backyard, right in Cranberry Road. Dr. Freedman, it's been our pleasure to have you. Please, once again, share your contact information for our listeners.
Well, thank you again, Jane, Ken, for having me today. I'm Dr. Ken Freedman at Freedman Chiropractic, located on Briar Hill Court, Unit D6 in East Brunswick, New Jersey. My phone number is 732-254-6011. You can go online and see my website at freedmanchiropractic.com or email me at ken@freedmanchiropractic.com. Thank you again.
Thank you again. We hope everybody enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.